So the truth is, life is not supposed to be easy. There's nothing that tells us that life should be easy, that everything should come as we want it, and we should just get all our desires met immediately, right away, and there should be no real challenge to it. Think of our ancestors thousands of years ago and the conditions that they had to live in. No electricity, no phones, no cell service, no internet. Basically, you get your food from growing it in the ground. Someone else would have to bring it in, you'd have to pay for it, or you'd have to grow it, slaughter it, and hunt for it yourselves. Very different than what we have today. Doesn't mean there aren't problems today. We just have a different set of problems. There's nothing that tells us as we go through the future, things should just progressively become super easy for everybody. That's not how life is set up. That's not how this life will ever be set up. There will always be difficulties and there will always be challenges. Like I said, those challenges will just change, shift, and become a different form. Thousands of years ago, your life was in constant danger due to the instability of governments overall. Nature, you could die from starvation, disease. We didn't have things like modern medicine, although they did have medical systems, but it's nothing like where it is today. And then as you come to today, for most of the developed world, if you're watching this video right now on internet, you likely have access to food and a constant supply of medicine and all these different things. But your problems and your needs are quite different than what they were 2,000 years ago. It doesn't make them any less valid. These are still valid needs. These are still valid concerns and problems. Like I said, they've just changed and shifted to new ones. It seems like for a lot of people in the modern world, comforts is not really the issue here. Most people have access to food. Based on the statistics that we have, most people are getting plenty of food on a daily basis. You have the ability to watch something on the internet. I think most people in the Western world have access to a smartphone, for example. So those are not the issues now, but the issues are completely different. It's building a family, finding purpose, finding value in life, avoiding the millions of pleasures and vices that are brought to you in this world. I mean, think about the problems today compared to 2,000 years ago. Think about the amount of vices and things that we have that can drain our time and effort. We have access to infinitesimally more than what they had 2,000 years ago. Just a smartphone that you're holding in your hand right now can give you access to all sorts of terrible things that you can waste your time on. Entertainment, you can buy things at a one click's notice, even if you can't afford it, with credit cards that the banking system has provided you, and you can have access to all of those things. And we may think of those things as comforts, and used properly, they could be conveniences and comforts. But for a lot of people, it's actually their downfalls. These time-wasting things, these money-spending things, these vices that they engage in, doom scrolling on social media, looking at pictures of half-naked women on Instagram. It's not helping anybody, yet is more accessible than ever. Our ancestors thousands of years ago didn't have access to this stuff. And it's reasonable to say that if they did, they would come out a little bit differently and they would be similar to you, because this alters how you view the world. This alters how you spend your time and the goals you work towards. What we're facing today is a crisis of meaning. What we're facing today is a crisis of finding value, finding ways to fulfill ourselves, find a meaningful existence that is devoid of what seems to be all these modern comforts, vices, and synthetic things that people provide to you. In the world we have today, we have massive corporations with robust advertising techniques bombarding you with thousands of advertisements today, giving you synthetic solutions to your current problems. If you just buy the next thing, if you eat the next thing, if you consume the next thing, well, that'll keep you happy for a short period of time. And as long as you stay on our hamster wheel and you keep purchasing from us and you keep buying from us, then your life will be fine, because you'll be on the constant hamster wheel of consuming and getting that next dopamine hit. It was so much harder to get access to these quick dopamine hits 1,000, 2,000 years ago. Heck, you could even say 300 years ago. What did you have? Open a book, go outside, look at the birds. That was your dopamine hit. People had to work for the pleasure. People had to work for the dopamine hits. Just finding a spouse or a girlfriend or building a family required real world activity. You have to go out there. There was nothing that they could access on their phones or through the internet here that could give them a synthetic, altered, corrupted version of that. But now people have it readily accessible to them. And sadly, for our even younger generations, they're given these devices in their hands at a very, very early age, learning that, well, that's just how you spend your time. You just, spend time on your tablet or your phone, doom scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, and all these brain rotting apps. Fortunately, a place like YouTube has an aptitude for education and helping people expand, their horizons and make progress and make online income. So I'm not going to completely rave against YouTube, But there's a lot of awful, terrible, degenerate content on there as well that is doing nothing to enrich your life, but is simply there to occupy your time and entertain yourself. I would say apps like TikTok and Instagram and even things like Netflix are just purely time wasting things at this point, not adding any value to your life, just filling the void that you now experience. But that being said, like I said, there's nothing that tells us that it should be easy. We just have a different set of problems. So how do we combat this set of problems today? 2,000 years ago, it was finding a source of food, medicine to keep yourself healthy, keep yourself from dying, keep your family alive. And a lot of modern innovations have now taken care of a lot of those issues. But now, how do we deal with the modern problems? How do we progress through it? One, you need to find your purpose for why you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish. You need to be driven to, be a servant to the Lord, be a servant to God, be a servant to the people and communities around you. Work on a purpose that is bigger than yourself. A lot of these problems come from people thinking all that really matters is satisfying their next need. And if that is your number one purpose, if that's how you're going to operate in this world, you're never going to end up being happy. You're never going to end up escaping the problems. But if you work towards serving a higher purpose, serving something that works towards a betterment of the people around you, and you find out what that is, that why is going to fuel you and drive you to keep going and to avoid these different things. Living a moral life and avoiding the vices that we experience in society, it's going to be incredibly difficult. And no one does it perfectly. I even do it perfectly. Caught myself doom scrolling a couple times a day. It happens to everybody because these things are so addicting. These things are so easily take control of your brain and alter your psychology to want them. And detoxing from them completely is also incredibly difficult. Can you go through modern society, modern American, Western society without a smartphone? No, you have to communicate with people on that thing. You have to do your banking on it. I mean, does really anyone go down to a bank these days? I guess you can. But through your laptop and through your smartphone, which come installed with all these apps, that's how you make it in the world, communicate with people. You basically, it's that or go live out on a farm somewhere disconnected from everything, which if you have your family, you want to go do that, then that's fine. But if you're a single person in this world, unless you want to live like a hermit the rest of your life, if you want to live like a monk, that's not going to end up working out for you so well, because you do need to have access to these things to even make it in the world. So you have to find out a way to manage these different things and use them for the good purposes, not the bad purposes. But if there are apps or things that are triggering you and causing problems in your modern day life, I would find the best way to completely remove them. Only download them when you absolutely need them. But apps like TikTok and Netflix, you don't even need those apps on your phone ever. They serve zero purpose. I understand things like Facebook and Instagram are more of apps for connection and things like that. Even YouTube can be mismanaged by you, but there is some educational purposes to it. And if you're uploading content to it, I could understand why you would still have access to something like that. But if you find your purpose and drive, your why, that you want to make the world better, that can help fuel you and help you drive you and ignore those things. If you have convictions about morality in this world, you know what? Like, I've decided this vice is wrong. I know that this vice is wrong because it's been revealed to me by our creator, and I shouldn't engage in these things. That's going to further drive you than just using pure willpower all the time. Being able to ignore these things all the time just because you've decided in that moment. You need something deeper than that. You need to find that within yourself to avoid all those problems. So that is definitely the modern challenges we face, is avoiding these different vices, avoiding these things that are trying to pull our attention and keep us in the corporate rat race that they have designed us to be in. And I just want to encourage you that it is definitely possible. It will take time. But if you dig down deep and find a deeper purpose within yourself, something that you want to accomplish and achieve, lay out those goals in front of you, work towards those goals, and then ignore the things that distract you, you're going to be able to go far in this world, because so many people are distracted. So many people have their attentions eaten up by these things, that if you can find a way to transcend that and get above that, you're going to be working at a so much higher level than most people right off the bat. Because unfortunately, a lot of people are just walking around like NPC zombies, staring at their phones, not concerned about where they're going, not concerned about their goals, not evaluating their life critically. They're just making it from one day at a time, keeping themselves distracted. But if you can work at a level above that, you're really going to be able to power yourself above society, set yourself out, set yourself apart from other people, and really accomplish, some great things in this world. So let me know your thoughts in a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.